seconded. This is the May 20th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Spafford Planning Board. It's 7 o'clock. Do I have a motion on the minutes from last meeting?
Make a motion to accept waive the reading of the minutes from last month, April 15th, 2021, and accept the minutes as written.
All those in favor?
Second.
For a second. All those in favor?
Aye. I do.
Okay.
I see you.
All right. Old business, we have a public hearing for a 4-lot subdivision lot line adjustment for the Links at Barrows View LLC, which is on 2401 Box Road in Skinny Atlas. The applicant is seeking to divide 4 lots and along with a lot line adjustment. Is there somebody here from
Bob
Barrows?
Anderson, architect for Battalion, also Tom's here, should you have any questions. Since the last meeting, we have added more information to the plat plan, of which I know we had dropped off a whole bunch of copies. Do you all have copies of the plat plans? They're piled up right there. Okay.
This is the new plot plan.
That is the new plot plan, and it's dated May 13th. We also were able to get the SAPCA comments, and so we were able to incorporate some of the comments that SAPCA had relative to this application. The water course that runs through the middle of the property is a named water course, named after this beloved hamlet, Bordano Brook. It is a AA rated stream, and therefore, if the slope at the water course is less than 45 degrees or 100% slope, the DEC has a 50-foot buffer on each side. So, out of the abundance of caution, what we have indicated for the building envelope is the 50-foot setback on each side of the water course to be included as a consideration in the building envelopes. We have shown the required 25-foot and side yard, 40-foot front yard, and 40-foot rear yard setback for the building envelopes, named them as such. We have included a number of notes in the bottom corner there that it's a 4-lot. We'll have new wells. Lot 5 already has a well. We have put down the 15% coverage allowed for residential use, the 35-foot maximum building height. And the total 2 parcels is 10.61 acres. We have put out a note making everyone aware that Bordano Brook is a New York State DEC AA rated stream. A New York State DEC permit is required for stream crossing. So that way, anyone is on notice that in order to build on the north side of the lot, they do have to get a DEC permit. And then also we put in the agricultural in that we're within 500 feet of an active farm in the ag district. We have put in the note that says they have the right to be dusty, have chemical, organic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, engage in farm practices which may generate dust, odor, smoke, noise, and vibration. So that is on the map so that anyone reviewing this is on notice for that. So I think we have fulfilled all the requirements for the subdivision map. The status of the septic is we have Eric Buck out there. He has done some perk tests. He's in the process of submitting the septic designs. Obviously, we can't get the maps signed until the septic designs are approved. We have no anticipation of a problem getting septic designs approved. And are there any questions that you have relative to the status of this application?
The 40-foot setback.
Rear yard.
That's front yard and rear yard.
residential?
This is our, yes, we're more than 500 feet from the lake, so it's agricultural residential.
What's this, the setbacks? The setback's supposed to be what? I thought that was 50 feet.
I think it's 50 in the ag zone, but I could be wrong.
It's 50 in the road.
40 feet is correct.
Okay.
Oh, darn.
I hate when I gotta say that too.
So on lot
It says it
two,
way too long.
on lot two with the existing pond, they're gonna have to build deep?
Okay, so we are keeping the pond. Originally, we talked about filling it in. He's been talking to people about the lots, and actually, they see it as an asset, so we're going to keep the pond. We anticipate that on lot 2, likely on lot 3 as well, they probably will build on the north side, okay, and take the driveway across on the backside. The perks are better on the north side in that area, so the septics are being designed on the north side for lot 1 and 2 specifically.
Be kind of funny to have these houses up front. I guess.
Well, they could be in back also.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah, that would be their choice. Lot 5 will be in.
Yeah, from 41, it's like this. 41's here, right?
If they're going to build across, especially for lot 2, for the DEC permit, you're going to need drawings for that, right?
Yeah, DEC doesn't prohibit working straight. They just regulate the smell out of it, so that would be up to the applicant that buys the property if they'll build a DEC permit.
I see the process being that a person wants to build on the other side, they go to DEC, they get the permit, there are drawings required for that. They show Howard the drawings and the permit, and they issue the permit for the house.
So when you drop the deeds for these, you're going to have to tell them where they got to build, or where you're
No, they
recommending.
can build anywhere within the building footprint on the map. They are on notice that to build on the north side, they have to cross the street, they have to get a DEC permit.
Couldn't build over the pond.
They can flood it.
There is a chance somebody could buy it and fill the pond in, it's man-made, so
Yeah.
there's no regulations that require.
Okay.
I have done a few houses that were built on ponds, and they're not fun to deal with. Especially when you build them and they're ready to start digging.
It's called a easy well.
So have we sent this to county planning yet?
Yes.
We did, okay, Onondaga County Planning says,
This is before the DEC
Yeah.
workshop.
this was May 12th, and this drawing is May 13th.
Yes. So we had the benefit of their comments.
Okay. We have all the whereases.
This is
We'll go to the back. Advisory note, Onondaga County Health Department's Bureau of Public Health Engineering must formally accept and approve respectively any existing or proposed septic system to service each lot prior to department endorsement of the subdivision. So that means that you need the perk test.
Work tests are done, and the designs are in process, and they are being
Okay.
sent to the county.
Whereas the site is located within the Skinny Atlas Lake watershed, Skinny Atlas Lake is primarily public water supply for a source of Syracuse and is unfiltered, requiring strict adherence to water quality protections on the land in the watershed. And now therefore be resolved, the Onondaga County Planning Board recommends the following modifications to the proposed action prior to local board approval. 1, the town must ensure that the proposed subdivision meets the requirements of the New York State Realty subdivision laws. What doing to you?
That's what we're doing.
Okay. 2, the town should require a revised subdivision plan that demonstrates the proposed subdivision will create developable real property tax parcels in the following information shown: the water course and any required buffers, the existing and proposed buildings and access, location of existing and proposed sewage disposal systems and wells, and the distances between each.
Well, so I don't agree with the requirement that the sewage disposal systems be placed on the subdivision map before we can approve it. I think it's adequate and sufficient that the code enforcement officer ensures that the county health department has issued approved septic systems before he issues the building permit.
Yeah,
So I don't think we need it before we can approve the subdivision.
It's one of those things where, obviously, they're working on making sure first, and they have a tentative design, probably a three-bedroom, but we have no idea of knowing what size home might be built on it.
That's right. So I don't think we need that.
Also, Jeff Till will not stamp a subdivision plan that shows proposed septics on it. So
Doesn't make any
there
sense.
will
Yeah, it
be-
depends on the size of the house.
No, yeah, but he doesn't want on a map something that doesn't exist.
Right.
So basically, there's a separate septic plan for each lot that will be approved. And Jeff won't sign it until he has approved.
Can I see that requirement? Because I'm wondering if we have to pass it unanimously.
And it's a double A street,
Good
Nice
catch.
thing.
so it's also possible you could build it on one side and put your sewage disposal on the other.
Yeah, you could pump it.
See, the must, if we wanted to override the must, we have to have. But this is a should, so we don't, 4 out of 5?
Yeah.
So that's just a should. You don't have to follow that. And I don't think that's good advice.
Okay. The only thing I think you might want to show on lot 4 that I don't see is where the well is and where the septic is.
The well is actually on 5, and the septic, it's up at the top. But,
So if somebody wants to buy that lot, should know where the existing stuff is.
Correct.
So if the well is on 5, you're going to need a new well. On
No.
4.
Yeah, well, the note that I have is lots 1 through 4 to have new wells.
Oh, okay.
Lot 5 has an existing well.
Got it. Okay. And
Walmart had its own septic system?
What it was is, it was.
There was a fill
there's the well.
system just south of the bunkhouse. And so they built a new system up on that pole that was up top next to Pete.
Yeah, same landowner, and they just chose to put it up there. So,
So it wouldn't do you a whole lot of good to put it on the map, because it may have to be modified.
sure.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. So, and I did see now, lowered the glasses. There's a well right there. It's in the. Okay. All right. Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Okay. Having, nobody spoke for, nobody spoke against this subdivision. Do I have a motion? And the,
You're closing the public hearing?
yeah, the Barrows, I got to close the public meeting. Do we have a motion to close the public meeting?
I move to close the public meeting.
Second? All those in favor?
Hearing.
Aye. All right. Now, do we have a motion on the subdivision itself, Links of Barrows View? Seeker.
What's this? Oh, yeah.
Got to do a secret. Don't we have to approve the subdivision itself first?
No,
And
you
then
have
go
to
through the
close your
secret?
public hearing.
We
You
did that.
did.
Oh, and the motion was made and all that stuff? Okay, so now you do secret. Or you could do seeker as part of your public hearing, or you can do seeker afterwards.
Well, we closed it, so.
So we're going to have to do it afterwards. First, I got to find it.
As long as it gets done. It's kind of nice to do it during the public hearing, so that would give the public, if there was something that occurred during the seeker process, it would still give the public an opportunity to comment, because we haven't closed the public hearing. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't seem to be a lot of public here. Although they may be listening.
Yeah, we don't know how many are actually watching.
Right. All those who want to call in, what's our phone number? Okay. I had seeker, short form environmental assessment. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change of use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, bikeway, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the action impact existing public-private water supplies or wastewater treatment facilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, i.e. wetlands, groundwater, air quality, flora, fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? Okay. Do I have a motion that we have determined, based on the information analysis above and supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So we did seeker. Now, we entertain a motion to approve or
If that is
Accept.
your desire, that would
Yeah.
be looking good in that, so make a motion to approve the application.
do I have a motion to approve the application?
I move to approve the application with the document, corresponding documentation to the county and the applicant, and approve the final plat.
Okay, do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're all set. Congratulations. Actually, I think it's a good use.
I'm sorry?
I actually think it's a good
Yeah.
use of that property,
Better than the boats.
better than the boats. Do we need a motion to suspend that special permit for that property?
No, no, because that special, well,
It was granted to the sailboat shop, so.
right,
You're gone.
he's no longer the owner, right?
Right.
No, he was never the
He was
owner.
never the owner.
He was just the tenant.
We don't need to.
We don't need to do that? Okay.
They're dialing in, it's like,
All right. I'm going on mute.
alright.
Oh, you're up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all set.
For what?
A special one for it?
Yeah, because
No?
all the assets have to be.
Well, you know, our address
I
against
can't
this
see you.
Skaneateles, but it's not the town of Skaneateles, is it?
Oh, there we are.
Well, the
We
proposed
see you.
use is
Yes,
residential
we see you now.
construction.
Right, but I mean, the actual actions is subdivision. How can we have any of those?
Well, those issues apply to each lot, is what you're talking about, right?
Well, now I'm just talking about the application procedure doesn't really
Bear with
address
us.
subdivision, because in a subdivision, you're not building anything. You're merely dividing land.
That's true,
You
too.
can't have impact.
Exactly.
Well,
You
it
gotta
depends on
be
what you're
secret.
dividing the land, it could be,
Right,
Yeah.
could be a zoning change too, though, that would impact things.
But you have to do seeker on basically everything, change your municipal laws and everything, and that's the problem.
So, we're on
Okay, next item.
Community Power Group.
Wait a
Old
minute,
business,
this goes, wait a minute, this went to that you just took. And I still have another map. Okay, next item on the agenda is the special use permit request from Community Power Group in Washington DC. The applicant is seeking a special permit to install two 5-megawatt ground-mounted solar facilities located off Route 174. And we have, could you state your name for the record?
Yes, this is Whitney Hughes with Community Power Group.
Okay, Whitney, good. Why?
And we also have Mike Workowski with Community Power Group.
Okay, good. We have with us, excuse me, Rebecca, I gave you get your last name.
Minutes, Rebecca Minutes.
We have Rebecca Minutes from, yeah,
I'm sorry, what? Minutes, M-I-N-A-S.
from Barton and LaJudas, who is our town engineer, who reviewed the preliminary application. So with that, I'm going to ask Rebecca to just summarize her review, if I could. So,
Okay, so I just want to start by saying, it's a long letter, and I'm certainly not going to go into all of it, but from an engineering perspective, there's no showstoppers that I can see for this project. It's really just, a lot of requests for information or details to be put on the plan, or some specific contradictions with the seeker and the plan. So I'll sort of stick to the highlights. One, apologies, on page 3, there was reference to Jackson Solar. That is a typo. That should say Community Power Group. But all of the comments within the letter are specific to this application. So moving on to, if you're following along in the letter, page 4, item 6. Just around, just around outdoor lighting. You know, a lot of the solar facilities that we see don't generally have any lighting associated with them, and so just be maybe an opportunity. I don't know how you want to do this, if you want to do sort of back and forth with the applicant, but to understand what the extent of lighting is on the site. It says, you know, it says in their application just low-level lighting, but to understand whether that's just some security lighting, or if that, and whether there's a need for that type of lighting on the site.
Okay.
We're not expecting that. Yeah, we're not expecting to have any lighting. If y'all wanted us to have like some very small security lights at the fence, we could, but typically we don't put any in.
On the plans, there's just, actually, so skipping down to visual analysis, item 10. Typically, we would recommend visual analysis with photographic representation of the view shed from critical vantage points. And it's really, you know, the planning boards at their discretion of what vantage points, you know, they would potentially want the applicant to look at any particular areas of concern for view shed. The applicant has prepared a visual analysis where they've looked at topography and identified the residents that may be impacted, and they've proposed really a tree line along Rose Hill Road to address that. But so I guess it's really up to the planning board whether you know, they want to see that visual analysis with photometric renderings of the different any particular vantage points. Moving along then to glare analysis, there was a glare analysis study completed which identified no potential for glare for drivers along State Route 174, and the recommendations in the glare analysis are really for, you know, notification to the DOT and the FAA to provide them both a, you know, notification of the project and opportunity to respond if they choose to. Noise analysis is, you know, there was a noise analysis completed. It's just a little unclear as to where the inverters are proposed and where the noise analysis was, where the calculated noise analysis was completed from. We generally recommend that be completed at the property boundary. And so just, you know, clarification as to whether that's the property boundary, and if it's not, to update those calculations for noise at the property boundary.
Right. That's just so you know, the town has a noise ordinance, and it's specific in regard to at the boundary of the property.
Okay. Yeah, so I believe our noise analysis was from the inverters themselves. So moving it to the property boundary, we can definitely make that clarification. It should fall within the noise ordinance, though.
Okay.
So moving along then to page 6. So yes, so page 6, the top portion, 16 to 20, that's all around the Ag and Markets guidance, and there are fairly specific elements that need to show up on the plans, nothing too critical there. Then moving on to items 21 and 22, those are more related to DEC guidance, and you know, one of the requirements for the solar panels to not be considered impervious area for the purposes of the SWIP is to ensure that the site meets a particular criteria, one of which is that the space between the rows is wider than the panels themselves, which it appears to be the case, but you know, there's just some dimensions and other details that are required on the plans just to confirm that. moving on then to page 7. Item 27 is really all around prime soils and soils of statewide importance, and just identifying them on the site and confirming that the solar panels have been arranged to the extent possible to avoid prime soils if possible, and asks for specific information about avoiding particular areas of active. There's sort of classifications of importance as far as ag soils goes. So it's requesting a little bit more information just to for the town to do their due diligence to ensure that the solar applicant has sort of done their due diligence with respect to agricultural soils.
Can I ask you a question about that? Was the application identifying the types of soils that this project is being built on in any way?
No, that's what we're asking for. Yes.
I may chime in. I believe the seeker addresses somewhat, which types of soils are on site, at least the 3 primary ones. So there is a little, there's a little bit, but we can definitely provide more information, more clarity on that.
What does the seeker say about that?
So within the seeker, we use the NRCS database to identify what soils are on site. And in ours, we identified, bear with me, the predominant soil types were the Lima silt loam, the Candea silt loam, and the, pardon my pronunciation, the Honoi silt loam as well. And there's a variety of well-drained, moderately well-drained, and poorly drained soils.
Those are a variety of what?
I'm sorry?
Those are a variety of what type of soils? You named the
So there's
soils. Are they
3 classifications.
Yes.
So there's well-drained, moderately well-drained, and poorly drained. And I would say the majority, about 50% of the site, is moderately well-drained. But that doesn't give us much indication on the prime soils. I guess prime farmland is what she's asking for. So if more clarification is needed on that, we can definitely provide.
Are these soils that are identified in the seeker process, are they considered to be prime farmland soil?
I would say 20% of it is the well draining.
So the
We
include.
identify 19.3.
Okay, I don't know anything about farm soil. So the type of soil indicates whether or not it's a well draining soil, or can you have a well drain? Can the soil be well draining regardless of what type it is?
I think prime farmland is identified as being well draining.
Okay.
But I would, don't quote me on that necessarily. I would like to check on that before I speak too much on it.
Okay, so we need to, right now it's your best estimate that about 20% of this land that's being used is prime farmland. The other 80% is not.
Correct.
That would fall into the second category, which is what, tillable farmland? Isn't that what the ag?
I don't
statement,
know.
If I remember correctly.
Okay, so that I think is an important clarification, paragraph 27.
I'm pretty sure the ag department.
Because the state, as I understand it,
Yep.
has been recommending against the construction of solar farms on prime farmland. So I think paragraph
right now it's farmed. Being farmed.
It's an active farmland.
It's an active farmland right now.
Did the state advise against construction of solar farms on active farms, or did they advise against construction of solar farms on prime farmland? I know you guys took a seminar.
From the seminar, I believe they said on prime, not active, because you can't, the
You can have
farmer
an
wants to
active
lease
farm
it.
on crappy land, right? Okay, so it's the prime farmland that the state is most interested in protecting.
Yeah, and that, it goes through the ag regulations on solar.
Right. What the state says is their main concern is a farmland conversion is permanent.
What?
Farmland conversion is permanent.
It takes it out.
It takes it out, and yeah, you can restore it, but it doesn't go back the way it was, no matter what you do.
Hey, Whitney?
Yes.
Didn't we already submit this project to the New York State Ag Review, and they provided us with a letter of
Yeah.
effect, or?
Yeah, I was going to mention that we do have letters from New York Ag and Markets saying that this project wouldn't negatively affect farmland enterprises. We forwarded that yesterday, so I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at it yet, but
Right. We got
that's
that.
something we have to
Oh, Whitney, was that part of the original application packet, or is that something new?
No, that's new. Yeah,
Okay.
we had it, but we neglected to include it. I don't think it was part of the package originally.
Do you have that?
I got that.
And what is the language that they're using in the letter?
It says we're the town of Skaneateles.
They got the town wrong.
Yeah, they all read the same.
Oh, good, thank you. I think we should make this part of the record. Actual record of,
There were 3 of these, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all the same.
It says solar farm 1, 2, and 3. On these, we got 3 of these.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of confused because it only shows 2 solar farms.
if I
Where's the
remember
third?
correctly, it started
Yes.
with 3. And this was probably done.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Chris.
that's Mike.
Right.
Oh, it says Chris's iPad.
But it's
Oh, that's
Mike
you.
sorry.
It's Mike Borkowski.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we had originally submitted this project as a 5 megawatt, a 3 megawatt, and a 2 megawatt. And the 3 and the 2 are combined in this application as a 1 5 megawatt project.
Okay.
And so,
But it's the same exact line.
and so Whitney, when you estimate 20%, are you basing that on the original 3 solar farm intention, or are you basing that on the 5? I'm sorry. Yeah, the 5 megawatt
Right,
project
right.
that's in front of us.
Yeah, so it'll be the same acreage. We just combined the 2 and the 3 into a 5. So it'll still be the same 20% of the total land, same amount of land, same acreage.
Okay, but I thought the original, the one that you submitted to Ag and Markets was 8. No, am I mistaken? I may not be hearing Mike correctly.
I think you said 5 plus 2 plus 3.
Yeah.
So it would be 10 total. We're still at a 10 total megawatt, but the systems were broken down differently in our original submissions to Ag and Markets. So that's why we have 3 letters as opposed to 2. But it still covers the same area, if that makes sense.
Okay.
We just have combined the 2 megawatt and the 3 megawatt into another 5 megawatt. So.
According to a letter here from Ag and Markets, they submitted it to the DEC, Advisory Council on Agriculture, and the Onondaga County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board for their review. They did not get anything back from the Onondaga County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. Did you get anything?
He's asking you.
I don't think we have anything back from Farmland Protection Board. We can definitely follow up on that.
I don't think the property is in farmland protection. We wouldn't be talking about a solar program because that's development rights.
I know the land around it is, some of it.
Some of it is depending on the other, but I'm pretty sure this one isn't.
But I also wonder if they have a different take, because I know the county is concerned about farmland.
Okay, so what they're saying is, based on all relevant information before me, I determined that the proposed action would not have an unreasonably adverse effect on the continuing viability of farm enterprises within the district. But they're not commenting on the type of soil. So this is not a direct comment. They're not giving us a direct comment on the soil type as to whether it's prime or not. But I imagine if it was prime soil, they may render a different opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the county may too, because the county may have better maps or whatever.
All right.
Okay.
Beating that horse.
You're beating that to death? Okay, Rebecca,
An
continue.
awful saying, but everybody knows what
I
it means.
agree. Okay, so then still on page 7, comments 29 and 30 are just from our landscape architect around the trees, the landscape buffering, just to recommend blight-resistant and deer-resistant plantings and a taller 6-foot minimum tree height planting recommendation. Those are both around the landscape plan itself. Item 35 is just asking for the leased land area to be shown on the plans itself, assuming that there's an agreement in place for that leased land. It should be submitted. And then item 38 is just around the small field delineated wetland that you can see on the site plan, the South Solar Facility. It just looks like there's a fence line proposed through the edge of that wetland, which I'm assuming is an Army Corps wetland, but I haven't seen the wetland report, so I guess the recommendation there would either be to move the fence out of the wetland or to get acceptance from the Army Corps that it's not regulated or is not an action that needs mitigation. Over the
You
page.
can easily move that fence out of the wetland.
Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's very borderline. It's very close, so it shouldn't be an issue to get it out.
Yeah. Once I see it.
On page 8, there's a number of comments about the SWIP, but there's nothing to really highlight specifically there. So moving on to the decommissioning plan, just a number of comments around the cost estimate itself and asking for additional breakdown. Just to, the cost does appear to be low compared to, based on sort of a high-level dollar per acre type, back of the envelope look at the cost estimate for decommissioning. So it would be good to see that broken down. So can confirm that they're site-specific, project-related costs, and nothing's missing there. Item 51 is just around performance bond, and I'm sure that all those types of things will be covered in due course. Page 9, then coming to the last page where I'd like to sort of just keep a running tally of what's outstanding, so additional information. Item 54 just mentions a pilot agreement. I'm not sure if that's something the town has asked for or not, and it's just there to know.
We will be asking for it.
Okay. I believe it sounds, the item 55 was about Ag and Markets review, but it sounds like that's already been completed, and the letter, which I haven't seen yet, but is now with the board, requesting an operation and maintenance manual, and there should be an agreement that goes along with that, just to verify, within leased land and outside of leased land, where the maintenance responsibilities lie.
Question on that one. I believe we did provide an O&M plan, but would it suffice to, add, I guess maybe we just missed the agreement part. If we tidy that up and add the agreement aspect to it, I'm not sure if you saw that. I think it was in our recent submission of the application.
I will go back and check. Was it within the SWIP itself, or was it a standalone document?
It was its own attachment. Scrolling through here, see if I can find it. You can keep going if you want.
No, I think we've really come to the end of the highlights.
Okay, so it's attachment. It's the attachment after our SWIP. Operation and maintenance plans, page 129 of 177 is where it starts.
Was the SWIP part of your application? Was it part of one PDF that you submitted?
Yeah, it was part of the. We submitted a link to a Google Doc, and it's within that. I can send you a copy.
Because I feel like I might have missed a portion.
Yeah, because it was a link. If she says it was a link, it wasn't.
I don't recall seeing it.
Whitney, what is the date of your latest application?
April 5th.
April 5th?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at Rebecca's report, and she's reporting on a March 5th, 2021 application. So she's not commenting on your latest application, which is the email that I sent to you yesterday. I was suspecting that Barton and LaJudas may not have been provided with your latest, most recent application.
Okay. Yeah, I have that over.
Maybe one thing we could do is if perhaps we could just set up a call independently with her and go through the application and her comments and make sure they all get addressed, and we're able to point her in the right way. It's like a 200-page document, and so we can probably pretty easily, I think we've addressed most of her questions already. We can pretty easily walk her to them and make sure she has a complete understanding of everything.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think this board has an objection with that at all.
I have no objection. I was going to recommend that.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'd welcome that undertaking. So.
No, my understanding is that you have provided a response, which only came in, I think, recently, which I haven't seen. Is that like an itemized response to?
No, that was included these letters. I got an email that I got today with basically it was a commented on some of the things, and then said that they were preparing a item by item response.
Okay.
Which
They haven't been able. You haven't had enough time to do that yet, right?
yeah.
Right.
Whitney.
So
Yeah, we have the list. We just wanted to make sure, like, if there was any discrepancies, because it looked at the end, we saw that there were some things that you notified we hadn't included in the application, but we knew we had included it. So I didn't want to send that list if you didn't get a chance to see everything that we did have, or we have already submitted. So.
And I just want to, am I correct in concluding that when Rebecca says she's looking at the March 5th, 2021 application, she in fact is not looking at the latest and greatest application.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay, so we need to get the engineer and the applicant on the same page, so to speak, the same application. But you guys can do that.
But there's been, I mean, you haven't made any changes or significant changes to the plans themselves. You've just added more documentation like the O&M plan, is that correct?
That's correct, and we were provided, I believe, with the updated code. So it just references our compliance with the code, our SHPO letters, our O&M plan, a few of the things that you notified we're missing, we do have in that April 5th submission.
Okay.
So I think that the most effective and efficient way to address this, because most of the comments will either still stand and they'll need to be addressed, or you would already address them. For example, the O&M plan, and you just comment, submit it. Like you can sort of just resubmit your package with the plans and everything addressed that still stands, and then just one additional review, and that might be the most efficient way to go about it.
That sounds good.
We have to approve, does the board have to approve that engineers, applicant engineer, our engineer, contact.
No, you could just reflect it in the minutes that the board has agreed that the applicant can communicate directly with the engineer, and the engineer has no objection to it, right?
No objection to that.
Okay.
No.
So, what was I going to say? Did you, in your latest application, modify in any way the seeker?
I don't believe so.
Okay, can you just
If anything, would just reflect the 2 5-megawatt systems as opposed to the broken down 2 and 3 and 5-megawatt systems.
Okay,
Same acreage, same soils.
I just want to make sure that I have the correct and latest proposed seeker, because that has to be attached to the notice of that the town is seeking to be the lead agency on this. So I've held off on that notice. I don't think it's tragic because we only have to give them 30 days, and so I'll get that notice out, the lead agency notice out, and I'll utilize your latest seeker, and then we should be able to, provided that the engineer is satisfied with the revisions to the application, we may be in a position to go ahead and do the seeker. But that's going to be done by the town board,
Right.
because they're and it could have been either board, and I chose the town board because they have the final say. So I just chose the town board to do the seeker. But you guys can do a review as well without coming to a conclusion. If there is something that you see in the seeker documents that troubles you, that would be a report that you would make to the board.
Right.
So what I would recommend that the planning board review the seeker, the long-form seeker that we have, for any comments, criticisms, or reports that you want to give to the town board about seeker. And otherwise, if you don't have any problems with the seeker as well,
Yeah,
reporting
notifying that
to
we've
the board.
reviewed.
We reviewed it and we see no problems with
Yeah.
the seeker.
Okay.
There
Any other-
were, I guess, a few comments on the seeker form. Does it make sense for them to address any inconsistencies before you
Yes.
send the
Yeah.
notification?
Yes, that's a good point. Maybe you folks the applicants can communicate with the engineer and make any agreed upon changes to the seeker. And the engineer will notify me if there's any major issues that you have with the seeker before I send it out.
Will do.
And then we should get a revised final seeker form.
Yes.
For the board's review, this board's review as well.
Yeah, but typically as part of the lead agency notice, we attach that proposed.
Right, yeah, that's the one you sent it to
So
everybody else.
I'll wait for the revised one to come in before I send out
Right.
the lead agency letter.
Okay. And then we'll get a copy of that as well.
Yep. Good, based on
If
the.
I may,
Uh-huh.
so just to confirm, we'll touch base with the engineer and make sure we're all on the same page and, address any, inconsistencies or anything that still needs to be addressed from her comments. And we'll provide you with an updated seeker. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I guess we're looking for another final revised application
Right.
with any of these additional items addressed.
Right.
That need to be addressed based on Rebecca's and Whitney's and Mike's
Right.
comments, reviews. Okay. And then do we do a public hearing, or does the town board do the public hearing?
I just think the board would have to do the town board,
Yeah,
because they're the
town
ones
board
making the
does it.
decision.
Good,
Yes.
they get the hassle.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just making a recommendation, so yeah, the town board will do the
Mhm.
public hearing.
okay.
No? Oh, wait a second. Howard's looking into it.
I believe as part of the special permit process, we have to conduct a public hearing in this board before they issue the special permit.
The special permit for solar is issued by the town board
Okay.
under the solar.
Yeah, under the solar regulation, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different. It's a little different because,
So this board is actually only functioning as an advisory
Yes.
board to the town.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
it's a little different than what we normally,
Gotcha.
because it's a solar project.
Okay.
Okay, well, good.
Any questions or thoughts on your end, Whitney or Mike?
I think I'm all set. I'll reach out to get the engineer's contact information.
Okay.
You need it?
Well, it should be on, I sent it to you, it should be,
Top of the paper.
yeah, at the end, right?
Well, I didn't put my email address.
Oh, you didn't
in
put your
here,
email?
so
Okay,
I'm happy for you to forward it along
yeah,
to Whitney.
all right. Very good.
Very good.
All right,
All set?
I guess we're good, thank you.
All right,
Great, thank you all so much for your time. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you, thank you for coming in. Next item on the agenda is a PDD,
And
Happy Pasture
no,
Campground.
we're not doing anything. So.
We're not doing anything.
So the applicant is indicating that they're still working with.
The engineers are still talking, yes.
Okay, so, you are, that item's off the agenda. Any other new items? No? Do I have a motion to close the,
Howard,
Howard, you got anything?
any new information, any new projects coming up or anything?
I believe we have any coming, we haven't, Vitkus, the fellow that asked you not to vote, a couple months ago. because-
Yeah, hold off and make sure,
He has it, I didn't get it till this morning, so I thought for next month's agenda.
yeah, fill it and hold off, make sure that everything could be done before you
Yeah.
get
He has all the final documents.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't want to do a subdivision that he couldn't build on.
Correct.
Smart.
So he asked you not to vote, we did the seeker, public hearing, everything,
Yeah.
vote to vote.
Okay. Everything's on set.
Yeah.
I think we did everything, we were all ready to vote.
Yeah, we were ready to vote and he asked us to hold off.
We'll check it, make sure we're ready.
Okay.
Has the public hearing been closed?
Oh,
Public hearing closed.
on that one, yes.
So we have 62 days to make a decision or.
He asked not to.
So he's given you permission to extend it.
We should probably get that in writing.
It's in the minutes.
No, he asked us not to vote. We need to, that's good advice from this gentleman back here.
Here you go.
He's been around. Huh?
He needs to grant an extension of time to the board.
Yes. He only asked us not to vote. He didn't ask us he didn't grant us the right to waive the time period. So Mr. Eggleston's advice is sound, and we should get an email or something in writing from him indicating that he's waiving the time period upon which the planning board must act.
Yeah, check the minutes, it may be in there that he gave us the extension, because we've done that before.
I don't think that was, I don't recall getting the extension. Now, of course, we were ready to vote in favor anyway, so.
Right.
Andy's got, so if it triggers an automatic approval, we were ready to vote in favor anyway, so it doesn't, yeah. But that's good that you remind me of that.
Other than a few
Yeah.
other minor subdivisions. If you haven't been down there with that road, there's Dean News, Buffalo. Pretty much got all the exotic animals now, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The 5 road meetings.
Really? Wow.
It had to be,
Gotta check that
it's
out.
already been 60 days, because it had to be the meeting before April.
Get it in writing anyways, that he's waived it.
Yeah, but there's no time on it for this, but that he wanted to table until second.
Very good.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay,
Oh.
all those in favor?
Aye.
It is 8:05.
Kate second.
I'm shocked that we got this one.